Yo, what's going on, you guys? Today I'm going to be going over everything that you need to bring on an overnight backpacking trip. If it's your first time going backpacking, or if you're just a beginner, or if you just want to check your gear in general and make sure that you're not forgetting anything, this is the video for you. And before we get started, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below, as it helps me out a ton. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So our first item up on the list is, of course, going to be our pack. As you can see here, I've got a Osprey, kind of a camo green color. And what's nice about this is just all of the different little pockets it's got. So it's got pockets in the front to store food when you're on the trail. It's got a bunch of other smaller pockets, and you really want to make sure that you get something that fits you well and fits your back and is also going to be able to fit everything that you need while you're out on the trail. You don't want to have to attach too much stuff to the sides. If you do need to, that is a feature that this has. It's got some places that you can attach some carabiners to store some other stuff. And I believe this is a 65-liter pack for reference. And I will be including everything that I got on Amazon down in a link below for you guys, just for ease of access for you. So this pack cost me about $300 or so. You can definitely get it. You can get something cheaper. You don't have to pay $300 for a pack. But I just saw this one in the store and I really liked it, and I figured I'd be using it for a long time. So I thought it'd be a worthwhile investment. All right, next up, we've got our sleeping bag. This is super important to keep you warm, of course, because nothing sucks more in camping than being cold at night. I can tell you from firsthand experience. This is a 0-degree bag, so that's why it's kind of bulky and a little bit bigger than you would think a sleeping bag would be. For backpacking especially, but you're definitely going to want a warmer bag when you're out on those colder nights. Here in Arizona, it gets down, into the low 30s, high 20s sometimes in certain areas, and you're definitely going to want a nice, warm 0-degree bag that'll just keep you warm during those times. Important thing to note with sleeping bags is that the temperature that it's rated for does not always match real life. So if I'm being honest, I was kind of chilly in 30-degree weather. So you definitely want to, give yourself a buffer of 20 to 30 degrees, depending on how warm you sleep. I usually sleep pretty cold, so I like to be a lot warmer when I sleep. So it got me through, but the lower grade that you go, the more comfortable at night you're probably going to be. All right, so next up on my list, I've got my sleeping pad and my pillow. Pillow, pretty self-explanatory. This one's a nice little memory foam one that I could just fluff up and throw in my tent or my hammock, and it gets the job done pretty well. And here's the sleeping pad. This one is it's a self-pumping one, so all you have to do is just kind of pump it with your foot for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it fills up really nicely. It is very comfortable. Highly would recommend. And this fits me well. I'm about 6'3". Around 200 pounds, and this gives me plenty of room. Just for a reference, it fits well into a one-person tent, and it's got the job done for me. Speaking of tent, I've got my one-person tent. It's not the lightest of weight, but it gets the job done, and it fits in my pack pretty well. Like I said, it is a one-person tent. Only thing with this one, it does rely on stakes to be put into the ground well. So if you're hiking in a more rock-based area, it can be tricky to find somewhere to put this, but other than that, it's a pretty good one-person tent. Fits me well, plenty of room, and I don't feel too cramped. And with that tent is a tent floor that I got. So all this is basically a nice little tarp that lays in between my tent and the ground, just to protect the bottom of the floor of the tent from rocks, sharp edges, stuff like that. It just helps preserve the life of the tent a little bit more. Next up, I've got my little hammock. This has the actual hammock with the bug net built in, as well as straps on the inside to strap around the tree. This is a super great hammock for me. Great when I just want to kind of chill around camp. I would not always recommend sleeping in a hammock for a couple reasons. Not everyone gets a great night's sleep in a hammock, first of all. And second, it can be pretty cold. If you're camping cold at night, it's not the greatest at insulating on the bottom part, so your back will get pretty cold at night. I've experienced that firsthand. Had to move from my hammock to my tent. There is a way that you can get kind of like an underquilt for your hammock to help with that insulation, but I do not currently have one of those. But if you were looking to go mainly for a hammock, then this with an underquilt would be a good option for you. Next, to actually help you get up on the trail is a couple of trekking poles. These are super great for big inclines, just being able to get up to camp, and they save you a ton of energy going uphill. Would highly recommend, especially if you're in a rocky area or if you're in a place with a lot of snakes. These can also help. Next up here, I've got my little camping stove. This thing is super handy, really lightweight for a stove. The whole thing comes with a couple of pots that you can use, and it comes with a little burner that you can actually attach to a little can of propane here. This makes it super easy for you to just boil water on the go as a way to either purify your water or to just boil water so you have hot water for your food. And speaking of food here, my main source of calories when I'm on the trail is freeze-dried meals. So I've got a couple right here. I've even got a little freeze-dried ice cream sandwich. Super great stuff right there. Along with a multi-tool utensil. So it's got a spoon side, fork side, even little knife side right there, and built in with a bottle opener. So you don't get much better than this as far as utensils. But these meals are super great for when you're on the trail. Super lightweight. It's all frozen, so you don't have to worry about anything going bad. Excuse me, freeze-dried, not frozen. It's all freeze-dried. And so all you have to do is just add some of this boiling water to it, and within minutes, you're ready for a nice hot meal on the trail, which is a luxury if you're camping in the cold. One of the most important things that you're gonna have on the trail is your water. Hydration is super important when you're hiking and backpacking, and you're definitely gonna wanna have multiple ways to source your water. So this right here is actually a LifeStraw water bottle. So all I need to do is just unscrew the top, fill it up in some sort of river, stream, lake, preferably something that's not too stagnant, and then I can just drink straight from this. In general, you're gonna wanna have two ways to filter your water, a primary way and a secondary way for if your primary way breaks. So I've got this bottle here as my primary way of filtration, and then my secondary way is my camp stove that I could boil water in, and I can kill any germs or bacteria or anything in the water through boiling it. Got about 100 feet of paracord here that I always keep in my pack. It's pretty lightweight, and you never know when you're gonna need some rope. Super handy for making a clothesline or hanging up a bear bag for your food, or just really anything you need rope for. Speaking of bears, I've got bear spray. This stuff is essential if you're camping in grizzly territory up north. Definitely gonna wanna have some of this. It's not as big of a deal if you're gonna be around mainly black bears, just because they're not as aggressive if they do encounter humans potentially. They're more after your food and not you as food. So it's never a bad idea to have some bear spray. I know it works on other animals as well. It could be used for self-defense as like a type of pepper spray against other people if you need it. You know, hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. I've also got this great little axe multi-tool. It's got a axe head side, and it's got a trowel side for when you need to dig cat holes to go number 2. It's got a few different pieces in here, like a built-in knife when I unscrew this. So this is pretty neat, and it's got a bottle opener, serrated edge, sharp edge, everything. And then down on this side, it's got a little compass and storage area once I unscrew this. Flint and steel is in there too, apparently. Forgot about that. So we got to get a little compass in there, and if I unscrew this end too, there's a little glass breaker, or window breaker. So all super useful stuff. It's all really helpful, and it's good to have it all compact in a little handle like this. Some more little miscellaneous things I've got in a dry bag right here. A headlamp. I would choose this over a flashlight just because it's so easy to just put on your head and just see the light wherever you're looking. Toothbrush and toothpaste. My toothpaste is somewhere in this bag, but little toothbrush, super compact and lightweight, doesn't take up much space, which is very nice. Toilet paper. You may need this, and if you need it, you're gonna wanna have it. You don't need to bring a whole roll, just bring like 10 to 20 sheets, however many you need to go, you know. I'm sure you know how many you need. But keeping it in a dry bag also acts as some extra fire starter if you need it by chance. First aid kit. This goes without saying that at least 1 or 2 people in your group should always be carrying a first aid kit, because you never know what is going to happen out on the trail, and you do always want to be prepared if something does come up. Some flint and steel. This stuff's really great just because it's waterproof, which is a huge plus. This has got a little ruler built in, another bottle opener, and it's just super handy to have, super easy to start fires with. You just need to give it a little strike. Light's simple as that. Probably shouldn't have done that on my couch, but it's all good. Got some hand sanitizer for before you eat. And I've also got a little survival book, which is 2 things. It actually does represent just a regular book. You bring whatever book you like to read for enjoyment. I try to stay off my phone as much as possible besides when I'm recording for just on the trails. Just helps me connect with nature a little bit more, you know, kind of disconnect from technology. But this is also a great little book for me to read just to catch up on my, you know, my survival knowledge. And in case there is a unique situation that comes up, I'm sure it'll probably be somewhere in this book. So super handy to have. It's also super small and compact, which is always a plus. And of course, I have the actual dry bag that all of those things came in. I have about 5 different sizes of this. This is my smallest one that I usually use for my personal items. But this keeps everything dry that you put inside of it. All you need to do is just take the air out and just roll it a few times and snap it in, and it's completely waterproof, and it will actually float in water because of the air that's inside of it. So these are super handy. One of them can also double as a bear bag. It's always good to have one of those. You just stick all your food in it at the end of the night, roll it up and tie it over a tree. You'll want to learn how to, of course, properly do that, but that's always super handy to have no matter what type of bears you're going to be around, but especially black bears and grizzly bears. I've also got some fire starter here that I keep in a pill bottle. I usually use some dryer lint because it's really easy to get. It's free as long as you have a dryer that you wash clothes in, and it's super easy to light. This thing picks up, you know, just the littlest spark super easily, and it's just super easy to get a fire going real easy with this stuff. And I put it in the pill bottle because it keeps it completely protected from the water. I've also got a couple of sun protection things. I burn really easily, as you could tell. I'm pretty pale right now, and it is winter to be fair, but no matter what time of year it is, I usually burn pretty easily. So I've got a pair of sunglasses for eye protection, and then I've also got this super handy hat, which will kind of protect my whole face and neck with this little back part right here. So I can put that on like this, and I've got full protection. And I think this is a little face mask that I can actually put up like this. So full 360 head and neck protection. Super handy on those hot summer days where the sun rays are just beaming down on you on the tree. More things you're going to want to bring just to round us off here at the end. You're going to want to bring a little knife. You know, I feel like this is kind of self-explanatory. It's always good to have a knife on you when you're camping or really doing anything in the outdoors. You're also going to want to bring a trash bag or two, and this is just to help us leave no trace in the wilderness. Just leave it how we found it and make sure we get all of our trash with us. We're also going to want to get a portable phone charger because these are super handy if our phones die and we need to contact somebody. You're going to wish you had one of these if you don't and your phone dies. And finally, you're going to want to make sure that you have the proper clothes. You're going to want to make sure that you have layers if you're going into the cold, plenty of sun protection if you're in the sun, sunscreen, bug spray. Those are some things you also will need. It's better to be more prepared than to be less prepared when it comes to staying warm, especially, and things like that. You don't want to go too over prepared to the point where it's weighing you down immensely in your pack, but you do want to be able to be comfortable at least. And you also want to have a good pair of shoes that you've worn before. I would recommend getting trail shoes instead of boots because trail shoes are a lot lighter, and I really think that they do the same thing besides maybe the waterproofing aspect. I would also like to make it clear that not all of these items are 100% essential. This is just what I bring on my personal thing. I may have left something out that you want to bring. If so, comment down below. What did you think that I missed, if there was anything? But like I said, you don't have to bring all of this stuff. Stuff accumulates in weight pretty quickly, and when you're backpacking, you want to have your weight as low as possible, preferably. So it's good to kind of just gauge what you do need. You know, if one person can carry the first aid kit, and maybe you could carry the axe. If you're going with multiple people, you could work out something like that. But it is good just to not overpack necessarily, but it is good not to just overpack to the point where it's just too heavy for you to do and it's not enjoyable anymore. But you do also always want to be prepared. So if you overpack your first trip and you kind of slim down from there, I'd say that's perfect. You can take note of what you need for the future and what you don't need that you brought on that trip. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything that I bring on my camping trips personally. Like I said, comment down below, is there anything unique that you guys bring on your trip? But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video and you learned something from it today. I want you guys to be as safe and prepared as possible for when you go out onto the trails, and really just to have a good time, you know, because that's the reason we're doing it. That's the reason we're going out in the first place. So if you did find this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you guys would share this with someone. Share it with a friend maybe that you're going on a trip with, and I hope it could be a good tool for you guys to better your experience. But with that being said, man, I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you out on the trail.